What's up, guys? Big Al's Fishing Tips back here with another fishing tip. Today I'm going to be talking about crankbaits, and crankbaits are a very good lure to throw. All different variety of sizes, shapes, colors, so you have a lot to choose from. Definitely, crankbaits, what you want to do is pretty much the same as a spinnerbait, chuck and wind. Just take it out as far as you can throw it, or wherever you need to throw it, and just take it and just wind it back. They come in a variety of different shapes and sizes, like I've said. This one here is a very, very lifelike one. It's made by XPS. Right there, it looks like a little baby bass. There's a little rattle to it. I'm not sure if you guys could hear that. What it does, it has a square bill right here. And what the square bill does is, so let's say you're fishing it and there's a log right here. Okay? Fish the log right here. So, what it does, it'll hit against that log and it'll flip right over it and it'll go right back. So it's almost weedless. Now, obviously, there's no guarantees, but it's as close to being weedless as possible. Next, you have your lipless crankbaits. This one has a little bit of rattle to it. It's the same thing as a crankbait, except it just doesn't have any lip. So it'll stay pretty high in the water column. With the lip, it will dive down the water column. Obviously, the longer the bill, the more it'll dive down the water column. So know that if you have weeds, definitely go with the square bill probably. Nothing deep diving. Obviously, if you're fishing a pond, it's not going to be that deep, so you don't need to go with, need deep diver stuff. But if you are fishing a deep diver, just know that the lighter line you use, the deeper it will dive. So if you're using, let's say, like 8-pound test, it's going to dive. It would say it can dive to 11 feet. It'll probably dive to probably 11 feet. If you're using, like a 20-pound braid, it probably won't dive that deep. But then again, the 20-pound braid, it has more water displacement, which the fish can feel through his lateral line, or so it'll probably make it look a little bit more unnatural. So just know that crankbaits, as you can see, crankbaits usually have 2 or 3 trebles on, depending on how big they are. But they're very, very easy to throw. For not throwing a cast as a fish to throw out of his mouth. For a fish to let go of. And people say, well, you have 2 or 3 treble hooks. How is that so hard to throw? It's because all these, with one hook, with like a jig or something, you're putting all your pressure through that one point, and that's gonna stay in there pretty locked up. This one, you're putting your pressure through 6 different points, which means you only get a 1/6 amount of pressure through each one. So it's easier to throw a 1/6 amount of pressure than all your pressure, especially if you're a big person. So just know that. So whenever if the fish jumps when you have a crankbait, take your rod, reel up any slack you have, and slack is how much line is not like perfectly straight, how it's kind of both. Reel up all that and put your rod tip either near the surface or in the water. What that'll do is keep a tight line, and it will decrease your chances of letting the fish throw that hook. So definitely a good thing to do. Now you have to be considerate of the sizes. If you're fishing a pond, you're really not going to run into big bass unless you've seen the bass there, or you stock the pond with big bass, something like that. So definitely know your sizes and know what kind of bait's in that area. Don't use a perch color if there aren't any perch in that pond. Obviously there's probably perch in that pond. There's probably some fish there. But if you don't know for sure, a small pond probably not gonna have shad. So why would you use a shad color? It doesn't make any sense. So definitely know what bait's in your area, and the speed. Again, just like the spinnerbaits, if the fish are, let's say it's really, really hot out, it's really, really cold out, and they're kind of lazy. Fish a little bit slower. If they're gonna be really, really active, you can fish a little bit faster. But again, like the spinning rate, slower is better. So just know that. That's pretty much about it. Crankbait's great bait to throw. They are a reaction bait. And what that means is that really, even if a fish doesn't want to eat, if he sees that goes by his head, his immediate reaction is to go eat it. So definitely get it as close to the strike zone as possible because they will come after it. So definitely crankbaits are great lures to use. Make sure you get your size right, your weight right, your deep divers, your shallow divers, your square bows, your lipless. Don't get too caught up in it. You know, it's not all that confusing. You know, if you have a deep part, deep dive. If shallow, shallow. A lot of wood, square bill. It's not that hard. Or if you just like lipless, you can throw lipless. You know, whatever. It doesn't make it. You know, it's just pretty much personal preference. But it does have, like I said, it does have a lot of treble hooks, so it's easy for a bass to throw. It will get hung up a lot. So to know that, and be sure, even if it just starts tipping that grass, just rip it out because it will get hung up pretty badly and you will lose a lot of them. So know that. This has been another fishing tip from Big House Fishing Tips. I hope you enjoyed it. Be safe when you're out in the water, and I hope you have a great fishing experience.